Seches Pesachim darf Yud sein mit Aleph. Talmon Tanina. It says there in the Mishnah, Masechet Trumas, Tapuach, an apple of Truma, Sherisko, Nos Sonatach Isra. You put it in the dough of a chimtza, and it became chametz. It means it became sour, the dough. That's how he makes it. Right? That's a way how to make a dough to become sourdough. You put in a little bit of apple. The apple makes it sour, and that's how it becomes sourdough. Harezi asur. It becomes asur because the truma that makes it become sour, so it's considered like it's the whole thing is truma. So if barley fell into a boil into a big pit of water, that's not considered that it's part of the soirim because it doesn't give a good taste in it. Listen time of gam. Mutter. He says even tapuach is also mutter. It's not considered that the apple is nicker in the dough. When are they arguing? If you use the water, then it has a strength that can cause the dough to become sour. For sure, that doesn't do any job. It's only the water that can concentrate that causes it. But if it's just you put in the apple itself, it's not strong enough to make it chametz. Not so clear here. This is the girsa with all the gemaras. It sounds more plausible to say maplig b'mchametz begufay, av mchametz b'meimah v'hakol mutter, because it's mine. It's zeya ba'alma. But I don't have enough proof to change the girsa, so I guess we'll leave it like this. So we'll say a svara begufay doesn't make it enough. Doesn't have the power that meimah has. Just like he says there, that the Gemara says in Masechta Shabbos, that Yossi holds that you're allowed to cook and toil the schama. It's not considered a regular bishul. Here also he holds ain't that the chametz b'meimav, even b'meimav, he says it's not a problem because it's not chametz bar. It's not such a strong. It's chametz nuksha. Chametz nuksha. Ton paga shetona v'tevan v'charora shetona v'gechol. Im hoyu mixason megulen v'ton b'shatz. Then is if something is open, you can pull it out. Siltum atzad. If you have to move the tevan that's muktzah in the tov. So this is brought down here, but we don't know. This is the chayr that doesn't have a shaykh to the sugya. So I think it's a gab urcha because Gemara brought it down. It's the Shabbos there, so it came in here also. Where do you know that the kohen can be yotze the mitzvah's matzah with challah? Toichlu matzahs riba. It says toichlu matzahs. To be married, can be yotze with truma and challah. Yochel yotze the chavasa b'bikurim. Talmud loimer. How about if a kohen makes the matzah from the wheat that he got for bikurim? Chomish is teichem toichlu matzahs. Matzah necheles v'chomosh. Since you can only eat in Yerushalayim, you're not yotze the mitzvah matzah with bikur. I see when they asked the question, how can be yotze matzah shein? It's also only eaten in Yerushalayim. And the Gemara answered on that, raw hili podas. Matzah shein, the din is, if it becomes tummy, you can redeem it even in Yerushalayim. Royally Podis and that's why it is considered Nechel B'chol Meshos. Rabun Bachia boy, Alekuch v'ketz of Meister of Yehuda. What the din is somebody took the money of Meister Sheni and he bought a matzah with that. So the din is that we see the Mishnah as Meister Sheni that the Kuch Ketz Meister Sheni Shenitma you cannot be poided. It's different than Meister Sheni itself. Meister Sheni itself became Tomei, you can be poided. But if you bought something with Ketz of Meister Sheni and then that became Tomei, you cannot redeem it. So Kumto is that it's not Nechel B'chol Shabbos because it's impossible that this bread, that this matzah that you bought with Ketz Meiser Sheni should be eaten somewhere else. Because once it gets Tomei, it cannot be paid anymore. So obviously it cannot be eaten anywhere. And so that's why maybe you're not Yoitza with the Kurach with Ketz Meiser Sheni. Because it's not Nechel B'chol Shabbos. It's impossible that this should be eaten somewhere besides Yerushalayim. The time the Kurach with Ketz Meiser Sheni should not be Yipada. You don't even Yikava. Omne Rabbi Yehuda, ma Meiser Sheni atzmei should not be nivde halakuach. The Ketz Meiser Sheni should nitma and then she Yipada. That's what they told for Yehuda. But the ham learned because Meiser Sheni can who knew the Torah berichik makom. You know that Meiser Sheni itself you can for sure redeem it. That's the whole parsha of Parsha 8. That if it's you're far away, then you pay it. Tell me the Kurach Ketz Meiser Sheni knew the Torah berichik makom. If you bought something Ketz Meiser Sheni outside of Yerushalayim, you have a chuyev to bring it up. So it has a certain chumrah. So stop. So anyway, this is just a side. This is just bringing down the argument between Rabbi Yehuda and Chacham. But let's say according to Rabbi Yehuda that holds that Lekuach B'Kaz Ma'aser Sheni is not nivde. So if it becomes tamei, nothing to you can't do anything with it. You just have to bury it. You can't do anything with it. However, any other pods of Achel Ma'ishav, any Yotzim you can't be Yotzim Matzah by such a thing because it's impossible to eat this Chomesh Shabbos. Shimon looks boy. Shimon looks asked the question. Chalas. Interesting question. So if you're using this argument that it has to be this actual piece of bread has to be right to be eaten the Chomesh Shabbos. So let's see. Chalas Isis Ma'aser Sheni B'Shalayim. Not Lekuach. Somebody bought up the wheat from Ma'aser Sheni. And he made a dough out of it, and then he gave it the kohen challah. And the kohen wants to use this challah to be yotze mitzvahs matzah with it. But there's a problem here. If it becomes tamei, you can't redeem it. Bishlam Ma'aser Sheni, you redeem it, and you can eat whatever you want. But here, once it's challah, it's like truma. Truma becomes tamei. You have to burn it. You can't eat it anywhere. After Rabbanim, kiven she'im nitma ein poidem kodeshim achidam leklav. So even you'd say that you can give it for truma shenitmes. I'm not sure if you give truma shenitmes for yeah, you could give it for animal of a kohen, but here it's ein poidem with a kodeshim achidam leklav. So because you can't Ma'aser Sheni as a din kodesh, you can't redeem it in order to give it for a caliph. So even though if mitzad the din truma you're allowed to give it that's a truma shenitmes, you could give for per behema. I'm not sure on that, but could be that's the din. It's clear that you can use it for different hanos, for hadlaka, asikatach of shilay. But here, for sure, you cannot do it because in poitz kosh achil meklov. So you can't redeem meiser sheni, that's kodesh, to do such a thing with it, to give it over for a socket. So anyway, so the problem is that chala of meiser sheni, there's no heter b'chol meshavos. Yochel yaiti dechavasam b'chalas toide urkikin nazar. Tamaloim shivas yom matzis techelu. Matzis in chelas kol shiva, in chalas toide kikin nazar kol shiva. So this is a drasha that teaches us that you're not yotzam the mitzvahs matzah with bread that was baked in the shame toida or the shame nazar. And we're not talking here that nishchat aleim azevach. That's not the, even though it could be such a case because you could check at the erev Pesach and then eat it at night. But you're talking here if you baked it l'shem to bring it, you want to sell it to somebody that needs a toida or nazar. But since this is not nechel l'chol shiva, because you only eat it toida yom b'layla and the same is kikin nazar. I mean, yoyim b'shem hashbal. Ma'ash and echel chalas toida. Kikin nazar b'chol gudas Yisrael. It's tzorch hashoyne leitziyam Moshe. What is he saying here? He's like saying a statement that why do you need the post to teach you that you're not yoitza with chalas toida? Because it's not nechel kol shiva. Typically, that it's not nechol chutz l'Yishalayim. We said before that b'kurim you're not yoytze because it's not nechol. The answer is because there is nechol. Because if there's a heter bomus, is man heter bomus, you could bring it anywhere. So you cannot be a moitzi from Moshe because it is nechel b'chol meshavos. You can bring it on your bom ketana. Somebody says, I don't understand. Niche chalas toide. Kike nazo ene kain. Chalas toide, okay, it's an adava. You could bring, just like you can bring a shlomim in your bom ketana, you can also bring a chalas toide. How about your kike nazo? Ma b'yechem leis kain aziyas chayvi. You're right. Aziyas taka, you don't need the special miyat because not nechel shiva. Can also you can it's simply not nikr babama, so because of that it's the smart that you cannot be yotze pesach. When boom back on the pasuk shekov v'chatosei, oh that's he's asking a question. He's asking that the ziyus is choyve. When answered no, the pasuk shekov v'chatosei b'shiloi v'lasei shlomim v'lei v'givan. And then when he wants to bring his shlomim and the oila, he could bring it chol meshavos. So it sounds from here that we're not talking here about bringing it in a bama katana, because talking here benoy v'givan. Yeah, but I think that it means noy v'givan means that they don't have to bring it to noy v'givan. It means during the period of noy v'givan you can bring it anywhere. That's what he means here. Because if you can only bring it to noy v'givan, it's also not considered nechel chol meshavos. So I'm saying that since the time of Neve Givan, it's mutter even a bamus yochid. That's why it's considered nechel chol meshavos. Okay, this will be the end of Daf Yud Zayin Amud Aleph.